Hello, all. Welcome back to my fragrance journey. My name is Ron, and today I have basically a hodgepodge of fragrances. No real specific theme other than I just want to talk about them. Some of these are new fragrances, or at least new to me. Some of them are ones that I've had, but I'm just kind of falling in love again with them, or what have you. And yeah, I don't know, I find that this happens often where I kind of have some fragrances that pile up and I want to talk about them, but there's no, specific note to focus in on that they all share or some other, theme or what have you. So yeah, I think maybe I'll just start doing this where when a few things pile up and I just want to chat about them, I will. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So first up, we have Barenia by Hermes. This is a fragrance that launched last year. The nose behind it is Christine Nagel. The notes that they list are miracleberry, bergamot, white ginger lily, patchouli, akigala wood, and oak. To my nose, in spite of that lovely little list, I primarily get rose. It's always been that way. This is a rose fragrance for me. The rose in it is sweet, not cloying, not caramel or sugary or vanillic, just a naturally sweet rose. After that, I do get the patchouli, so it's ultimately a rose and patchouli fragrance for me. And then I do get a little hint of woodiness in it as it dries down. And occasionally I do get touches of spice, just a bit. I guess it's the white ginger lily. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's only occasionally. Something down to my olfactory system, I guess. Same with the rose, because where's that coming from? Based on the notes list, I don't know. Something must harken back to it through one of the accords or what have you. But yeah, I just find it to be rose and patchouli. But more than that, it is so beautiful. It is so chic. It is so timeless, gorgeous, all of the lovely adjectives. This is one that is very confident. It's very poised. This isn't a movie star. This isn't someone on the stage making all the noise and hubbub. This isn't going to fill the room. It's not that kind of a scent. But at the same time, again, it's very pulled together. It's this is the movie studio executive. Not the star, but this is the person behind the scenes who has power and confidence and drive. Like, that's what this fragrance is. I really find that this is all those pretty things that I said with some backbone. And I love Barenia for that. And maybe I've been needing more of that lately, because the reason I mention this fragrance at all is because it's just been living on my desk lately. I find that I keep turning to it, morning, evening, nighttime, whenever I want to put something on. If there isn't something else that catches my interest, then I just end up reaching for Barenia more and more. Possibly also due to the seasons, we don't really have very distinct seasons, but it is less hot. It has gotten down to the 90s and even occasionally the 80s lately. So that might be part of it. But yeah, this is just a lovely fragrance and one that I guess is staying on my desk. So yeah, Barenia by Hermes. Now we have something slightly different. So this is Raffinee by Houbigant. This is a fragrance that launched in 1982. I don't have any information on the perfumer. If you know, I would love to know down below. And the notes are, as always, a veritable kitchen sink. We've got carnation, plum, rose, jasmine, mimosa, tonka, osmanthus, hyacinth, cinnamon, incense, musk, cypress, and that's just some of it. I actually found in one resource when I was looking at more information that supposedly there are 200 different ingredients in this fragrance. Now, I actually didn't buy this for the scent at all. I definitely wanted to try the scent. I was curious, and I hoped it would be fantastic, but I bought this 99% for the packaging, specifically the box. I saw it on a listing and I started a hunt because I thought this was just such a gorgeous box. Something about this deep burgundy with this gold, and then even in the kind of the symbol at the bottom, it's got kind of a slightly lighter maroon type color. I don't know. I just think this is so stunning and beautiful. And so I had to have hopefully a decent quality box, which is in pretty good shape. The bottom's a little rough, but otherwise we're in good condition. And then, of course, in addition to the box, I had seen that, throughout the years, like any other fragrance, both the boxes and the bottles will change. But I saw that with this box, this bottle that I have is the one that's paired with it. It seemed more times than not. And so I thought, oh, well, I really have to have it because not only is the box stunning, but so is that bottle. I think this bottle is just beautiful. And so I bought it just because of that. And so I knew going into it that, it's a vintage fragrance. Clearly a lot of this has been used, a lot of oxygen's in here, and it's secondhand. I don't know how it was stored. I don't know, anything about it. So I just know that all I can guarantee is that packaging is beautiful, and that's why I went into it. So in a lot of ways, it was a no-risk purchase, but the scent itself, of course, could be in poor shape, and I'm sad to say that it seems to be the case. Now, granted, there's apparently a lot going on in this fragrance, and I've never smelled any other version of it, so I don't know exactly what I should be smelling, but based on the notes and based on other folks talking about it on Fragrantica and things, I definitely don't think I'm getting exactly what I'm supposed to be. I get first and foremost pea, quite strongly. I get ash, kind of a cigarette ash. I get powder. Now, all those things are things that could, very well happen in a fragrance, especially in the 80s. Sometimes certain, florals and accords will come off a little pea-like. Some things will come off cigarette, ashy, ashtray-ish. And powder, of course, is a common thing in many fragrances. But each of those things doesn't smell quite right. Like the pea, it's pea. Well, it's never supposed to smell right, but but it's very strong at first. And then as it fades, then the ashtray quality comes in, but it's, it smells less like this is a facet based on the ingredients and more that this is just an accident. This doesn't seem intentional. The powderiness is powderiness again. It seems fine. But then in addition to all this, as the dry down starts to come in, what really throws me for a loop is I get some sort of raisin situation. Like, a box of raisins. Like it's that. Raisins and ash and pea and powder. And maybe a little spice once in a while. And I've worn it not full on a bunch, I'll be honest. I've worn it full on twice. And then I tested it in the back of my hand twice. And yeah, it's never actually horrible. Like once the pea starts to die down, it's not the worst thing in the world, all things considered. But you just can tell that this really isn't what they were intending. And so I don't enjoy wearing something that clearly is fallen from grace a bit, especially when we don't land somewhere that's still gorgeous, especially with a vintage fragrance. A lot of times if you can get past maybe a weird opening, it ends up still being marvelous. This just isn't. It's just odd. So I am interested though to find a better example of the fragrance itself, because I think were I to do so, it actually would be a real stunner, especially based on what a lot of other people say, but it just isn't that great. That all said, though, again, that's not, why I bought this. I bought it because of aesthetic reasons, and I'm happy because it really wasn't terribly expensive. I think I got this for like $25, and it's just so beautiful to look at, and it brings me such joy to look at, and it will live happily on my shelf in my closet with my other fragrances, and just be something pretty to see anytime I go get the others. So this is Raffinee by Houbigant. All right, next up we have Fakhar by Lattafa. This is one that has also been living on my desk lately, which it does tend to do from time to time because this is probably one of my easiest of reaches. This is a fragrance that launched in 2022. I don't know who the nose is behind it. The notes on Fragrantica are many, but we have fruits, lily, pomegranate, aldehydes, tuberose, jasmine, gardenia, ylang ylang, honeysuckle, rose, and peony, and then vanilla, white musk, sandalwood, and ambroxan. Now, Fragrantica lists that it is, at least as far as people who rate it, they say that it's very similar to L'Interdit by Givenchy. I haven't knowingly smelled that. I say knowingly with a lot of fragrances because I know they're very popular, so I'm sure I have smelled it in the wild, but I never did so that I was aware of. So I couldn't tell you how it actually compares to L'Interdit, but it's a lovely fragrance. I actually reviewed this, gave it a dedicated review towards the beginning of my YouTube channel. So there's a little rough video out there if you want to look that up. But I think in that one I said a couple times that this was middle of the road, and I don't know if I was clear in what I meant by that. This is, again, just an easy reach fragrance. The truest of that in my collection. Like, I really, aside from maybe green tea, there's not much else that I could just grab anytime, anywhere. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. There are other things, but this is just kind of like the second thought. It's either green tea or this 9 times out of 10 if I just want something easy, because it's just so lovely. This is a very soft, almost creamy floral with some fruitiness. Nothing distinct in the fruitiness, just fruits. They're not wrong on Fragrantica when they say just fruits, because that's really what it is. It's tuberose and a little jasmine, a little gardenia, just white florals and a bit of fruit, and it's lightly sweet. It's almost, again, a bit creamy, soft in a sort of fabric softener, dryer sheet sort of way. Really just lovely. And so, yeah, it's middle of the road in that it's just in the middle of things. It can be applied to many situations, I feel, and I really love it. Yeah, this is one, I'm very curious to try L'Interdit to see if this really is some sort of a dupe of it. I don't know, if officially Lattafa was trying that with this one or not. Some things they do try to be a pretty blatant dupe. Some things they don't. So I don't know, but I'm curious to try that one to see if it does land me in the same spot and which one I like better. But honestly, when I run out of this one, and I'm actually getting towards the end now, I've had it for a few years, I think I'm going to purchase another because it's just really lovely. So this is Fakhar by Lattafa, and this is the white bottle. Obviously you see that, but just keep that in mind because there are 2 other fragrances called Fakhar by Lattafa. One's a black bottle, one's a gold bottle. I've never tried those, and I don't. They're supposed to be different fragrances entirely. They're not really supposed to be like a flanker, I don't think. So I don't know. But anyway, Fakhar by Lattafa. So now I have Cashmere and Palo Santo by Donna Karan. As you can see, this is a decant. I got it from Perfumed Court about a month or so ago. And I don't know how I feel. So this this launched last year. It has notes of peach, cashmere wood, labdanum, vanilla, and Palo Santo. No nose listed behind this one. I'm sure there was, of course, but I don't know who. Again, if you know, please let me know down below. Yeah, I was hoping that this would be basically true to its name, and maybe it is for some folks, but for me, I get 98% Palo Santo, which is lovely. This smells very true to life, very photorealistic. It is woody and warm in the way that I always find Palo Santo to be, and that hint of slight sweetness. It's just gorgeous, as the real thing, and even in this fragrance, it is pretty. But firstly, this fragrance is incredibly strong. I have to cap myself at 3 sprays. I might have to reapply later. It lasts for several hours, but I might have to reapply later, but I can't do more than 3 at a time. If I do even 4 or 5, I start getting choked out myself. It's very, very strong. And that's already a bit of a problem for me because I don't have to, It's funny, I always joked, or had joked, that I was an oversprayer until I met real oversprayers, and I'm not. I'm somewhere in the middle. So this is definitely a fragrance that reaffirms that I have those limits. And so, yeah, as much as I enjoy the beautiful representation or facsimile, really, of Palo Santo, and also a touch of vanilla, that's why it's like 98%. There is just the barest hint as it really dries down, but it's just a little too singular of something that I don't want to wear that often. And given how incredibly strong and how little I have, or, like to wear, I just don't ever see myself getting more than what I currently have. And if I did, run out of this and I wanted more, I think I would just go with another decant, because a full bottle is around 200, 250, I believe. And that's a lot of money for something that I would only be wearing on very seldom occasions and in very small quantities at that. But yeah, this is Donna Karan's Cashmere and Palo Santo. All right. And last but certainly not least, I have Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent. Now I'm going to try really hard to not go ad nauseum about this fragrance, because I really, really am excited about it. This is a fragrance that launched in 1971. I don't know who the nose is as well in this case. So again, if you know, please let me know. Let us all know down below. The notes are a classic fragrance kitchen sink again. Some things to call out. We've got aldehydes, green notes, honeysuckle, rose, iris, lily of the valley, geranium, oak moss, vetiver, amber, tonka, all sorts of things. There's even more listed. The reason why I'm so giddy about this fragrance is because I have wanted it, or wanted to try it, for over 10 years now. And it's just been one of those ones that's kicked around on wish lists and sometimes in my cart, and then I pull it back out and all that, for over 10 years. And so I finally just took the plunge and I said, you really, need to make a move or get off the pot, because this is a fragrance that will one day be discontinued. Like anything, it's not going to necessarily go forever. And who knows when that would be. And I hate to create, either within myself or within anybody else in the fragrance community, a sense of panic or FOMO. I hate that. But I do think sometimes you have to just be realistic with yourself and say, hey, if it goes away tomorrow, will I really be sad that I took 10 years to hem and haw about it only to miss out? Would that really be a thing that will bother me? And in this case, I knew that it would. I've clearly wanted it for a while, and yeah, to have it suddenly disappear, that would just upset me. So I took a $75 risk, because on FragranceNet, that's how much it was going for. And that is a risk, right? $75 on something that you've never smelled. But I just had to. And I'm so glad I did. This has far and away exceeded my expectations of what I thought it would be. I thought, okay, we're getting a kind of classic 70s aldehydic floral bomb. It's going to be very intense, very strong, very powerful. A lot of people online mention a metallic quality, so I was waiting for that. And I honestly didn't know if I was going to love that, because the few fragrances I've had that have a metallic quality, it doesn't sit with me too well. So I didn't know how that was going to go, especially paired with powerful floral aldehyde goodness. Well, for me, I do get the aldehydes. I do get them right up front. They are not fizzing, though. They're not sparkling. I tried to think about this earlier, and mind you, I've only had this barely 2 days. So, take all this with a grain of salt. But it's like a buzzing aldehyde. There's a constant sort of movement to the aldehydes in this. In addition, there's all those florals and green notes, but it's, like a lot of fragrances of its time. There's no harsh edges, as I say. There's nothing poking out behind the curtain. It all just meshes together to be what it is. Florals and greenery with those aldehydes. And then I do get it's not quite just oak moss. It's not, I don't know. It's different. But one thing that I do get in this fragrance that I do want to mention rather than that metallic note necessarily. And I'll also say, I kind of wonder if the metallic note that people get, if that's just because of what they smell, or if the fact that this is actually a can, this isn't a glass bottle. I wonder if that maybe just influences people to feel that they're getting metallic note. I'm not saying that they're wrong. Everyone smells what they smell. But I wonder, because I don't get that. What I do get, what I'm currently calling like an air conditioning, circulated airplane air sort of situation. It's not bad. It's not stale necessarily, but there's a slight ozonic quality to this that just seems a bit industrial, just seems a bit man-made, it just seems a bit filtered. And it's not a bad thing at all. It's odd and it's unexpected, but it's so interesting because it actually plays really well with the florals and the aldehydes. It just, I don't know. There's something comforting about it. I don't understand. This is just a lovely, lovely fragrance. It's one that I think is very different. I don't think it's blind buy safe because of that, because of the way the aldehydes are and the way that it's got that sometimes, I guess, metallic for folks, sometimes in my case, processed air. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't have enough words right now, but all this to say, I absolutely love it. I'm so excited I finally got it. And now I'm kind of having the, unfortunately, the FOMO, thinking, well, maybe I should get another bottle because now I really like it. But I'm going to sit with it for a bit because, sometimes the initial excitement at having something, maybe that'll settle a bit and I won't be so ravenous for it. But yeah, this is Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent. So there we are. Yeah, my little check-in. Just some updates on things that I've recently gotten, some things that I'm pulling out of my collection and just loving a little bit more, pretty boxes, just odds and ends. And I think I will continue this check-in video thing once in a while just to, fit in things that maybe don't fit in other videos, but that I still want to chat about. I would love to know down below your check-ins, if there's any, thing that you got that you want to share, or anything that you have rediscovered in your collection, or really just anything fragrance related. Go ahead and drop that down below. I love, again, as always, the discussions and little chats that we have down there in the comments section. But I just thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, all the things, and of course for joining me here on my fragrance journey. I hope you're all having a great rest of the day. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.